So, what is your name?
Gareth Lamrock.
And
Am I looking at the camera?
you can that. Tell me a wee bit about yourself now. So your age, your occupation, and your hobbies.
Oh God. 53. I work for Keeping Northern Ireland Beautiful now, doing eco schools and marine litter surveys and all that kind of good stuff.
And any hobbies?
Fishing at the minute. I give all my other hobbies up.
Oh.
I used to be a photographer and surfing, and so I'm fishing now in my old age. More relaxing.
So, how did you get involved with the YMCA?
That's a long story. So, obviously my dad, and then the discos coming out here on a Friday night and having a fight with who was our enemies at that time usually. And then we had our punk rock band then, so we played a couple of gigs.
What was it called?
The Duffel Coats from Hell. Called Shrapnel, and then we changed the Duffel Coats from Hell. And we played our first ever gig in front of 400 people. And when the old stage was down there, it was a bit mad because we only knew one song until 3 weeks before. And then my dad says, "You should book to play at the YM." So we had to learn another 8 songs because we had to play for half an hour. And then we were that nervous, we played the songs that fast. We ended up having to start playing them again. And then it was good crack. And then that was us. Good out. And we got paid a curry chip each. So we got paid.
What year was that?
That was in 4th year, so 1986. So what age are you in 4th year?
15.
14, 15, no, it was 86, 87. And then left school and got a job here then as groundsman and a wee bit of caretaking and stuff like that, just part-time. And then left and started working over in Desmond's, and then came back as a part-time youth worker in the evenings. And then eventually, when the factories all fell, I started working, doing youth work in for more or less full-time up until 5 years. And then moved off to Pastures New then. The first time since I was 16 that I wasn't working here.
Wow.
Mad. in some capacity, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So what did a typical disco look like? Like what were you
Oh God,
going
I
on?
can't remember. I'll tell you what it looked like. At the start of the night, all the girls were on one side of the hall and all the boys were on the other side of the hall. And then you had your huts. The DJ was called Victor Vomit, if I remember rightly. And then you had the huts, and they were all lined up. Everybody was lined up dancing opposite each other. And then there would have been a slow set, and then there would have been a heavy metal set, and then all the headbangers all stood around in a circle and headbanged. And then they would back into the music again, and then everybody would go out, and then there'd usually be a fight. A couple of the rugby boys would be bouncers, and there would always be a scrap out in the car park as usual, boys being boys. But I can just remember the lines of people and the boys on one side, the girls the other side of the hall, all looking at each other.
And then what did a typical day doing youth work look like?
Oh,
Who were you working with and all?
crikey. So to start, I was working with it was mainly always older young fellas. And I worked up in Irish Street Youth Centre for a while, but part-time I was down here as well. And so they would have started coming down with me too, you know what I mean? So I was up with them a couple of days a week, and then they started coming down here. So a couple of them actually ended up coming down here, doing volunteering, doing youth work and stuff. But it was mostly working with young fellas. Could have been everything from, we covered, we went through some stuff from photography and filmmaking and videos, and it was mad, making horror movies and gangster movies and all this kind of stuff. Completely random, but trying to then justify that the still youth work was, hey, it worked, you know what I mean? It was like one of the young fellas who was part of the video making thing is now went over, he's very successful, making adverts for TVs and Morrison's and Marks and Spencer's and all that kind of stuff. So Does all the photography for all the packaging and branding and all that kind of stuff. So hey, it worked. That what got him into that, and it worked. It was worthwhile doing.
Absolutely.
Even if the rest of them didn't take it on, you know what I mean? It's still. But it was good. It got us out and about, and we had, like I say, I'll send you the video that I have of the roll up thing.
For sure. And then, what did your job as groundsman look like? What
Oh
were you
no,
doing?
that was just a first thing I ever had to do was cut Institute's football pitch. It was before the stadium. It just had a rope around the pitch,
Yep.
and I had to cut the grass with a push mower
How long did that take you?
all day.
Oh God.
And then I would have been out on a Saturday morning putting up the football nets and marking the pitch. And there used to be, the cricket team was down there, so we had a guy, Ernie Faulkner, he looked after the cricket wicket down there, so he was out. And we had a big, do you remember the roller or any of that? No, the big steam roller that was down there? No, it was all gone. And we used to go out and roll the wicket and all that kind of stuff, and then the cricket team folded. But when I first started, there wasn't a youth club. It was like a men's. There was the pool tables were over here, and you had bowls and the badminton. Like, I was shocked the night when Louise said, "No, the badminton's coming in." And I was going, "No way!" Like, that's since the 80s. You know what I mean? So it was the rugby. So it was all sport. And the room downstairs was the street room. You know, so it was kind of, the youth work kind of came. I don't know, it must have been the early 90s when it started. I think it was Mark Patterson and stuff like that, when it really started kicking off the youth work kind of stuff. I just helped out at that stage again.
And then, what was the single most significant event you experienced while being part of the YMCA? Like, what memory really sticks out to you?
God, I don't know. There's loads. Probably the best one would have been, what's they call that song? Roll Up, the video when we went and done the premiere. We had the cinema over in the Nerve Centre, and we showed the song, and then we had recorded the video for it, and there was loads of people there, and it was the first time that group of young fellas people were applauding them, and they were going, "Jesus, is that good?" You know what I mean? But it really, really was.
What year was that?
Oh God. That was in the 2000s anyway. But it must have been, couldn't have been more than 14, 15 years ago. Probably is more than that, I think of it. But that was brilliant. That night was really, really, really good, like, because all the musicians that played, and it was just the weird thing about it was these guys came and says, "Look, we do this thing where we go around and we come in and we do songwriting and stuff like that." Well, we didn't realise that we had somebody that could play drums. And we had somebody that could play trumpet, and we had somebody that could play guitar. So they recorded the song, and they actually played all the instruments. They wrote the lyrics, done everything, and they come up with a theme for it all. And then those guys, that'd be musical group, and then there was another group of fellas. So they never really met because they didn't meet, but there was no connection there. And then the boys, Johnny that played the trumpet was the video maker guy, and then he got these guys roped on to making a video for the song, and then that kind of got the two groups together. So they were all there for the big launch of the video and stuff like that, and it was really, really good, like, you know what I mean? But then there's loads of mad funny stories as well, like.
Well, tell some.
The funny one was, I'm not going to mention the guy's name, but it was after the Anglian fair. There was a big guy. Wasn't big here, but he come up, and my dad, there was a guy down there selling fish and chips out of the van, and he was hanging on, so he wanted to get everybody out at a certain time, but this guy was still there, and this young fella was doing a bit of volunteering, and my dad said, "Then go down and tell the boy he needs to get out," but he said, "You have to be officious." And this guy went down and told the guy if he didn't get out, he was going to break his legs. And the guy come up and the boy threatened to break my legs if I don't leave. Because he thought that my dad says, "I need you to be vicious." So he went down and threatened them. It was funny because I was actually lying on the floor down them stairs, and the big guy was looking at me going, "He's so vicious." And I said, "No, that's not like that." So it was a funny night.
Oh. Any other wee stories?
No. What else did we do? There's so many. There was like there's a sleepovers and all. I didn't mind doing sleepovers here because you could. The crack was always good. Like, you know what I mean?
What year was the sleepovers here?
Oh, when I was doing them, it would have been early 90s. Or the late 90s, early 2000s.
And how many young people would have stayed
Oh
over?
God, there was some nights. There was 20 or 30 at the end of the week of the summer scheme. You stayed over on a Friday night. You had me and whoever else, you know, it's on guard. You know, and it was no sleep, you know what I mean? You were knackered when you went home.
And did they all bring like sleeping bags and wee things, or was there?
Sleeping bags. There's camp beds in here somewhere, isn't there? They're probably down in the store down there at the...
Probably somewhere.
There's loads of camp beds. There used to be a youth hostel here as well, backpacking hostel.
Really? Where did they stay?
They stayed in here. Well, this was a wee tiny office. This bit wasn't built. And there was beds in it. And there was backpackers would have came and stayed. But that was only, I think it only lasted really for one summer. But I worked here then, I remember, because I would have had to stay. But most of the time they went out and just came back drunk. It was sick.
I suppose they would all went to sleep then, at least. So I suppose this probably relates mostly to whenever you were doing the youth work, but did you face any challenges?
Okay, it was right, but you just have to batter on through them. Like, there was nothing really. I would be quite resilient when it comes to young fellas, like, you know what I mean? So I would be kind of, I think in a way that was, they could relate a wee bit more to me because I kind of clowned about with them and that sort of stuff, like, you know what I mean? So you always had a wee bit of good crack with them. You had your baller with them. We had rogues come through here, like, you know what I mean? In fact, we had one young fella who used to do my hair, and I actually met him about 3 weeks ago in the petrol station at Toon Bridge, and I nearly died. I was like, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean? But at the same time, when he told me, like, he was 30, I was going, dear God, where did that go? Because he was only like 13 or 14 when he was here. But he was a rogue, like, you know what I mean? But I was like, oh, and he's got a business and he's got boys working for him and all that kind of stuff. So it's good when you see that, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And then thinking back on your whole time, what was the most valuable skill, lesson or friendship you gained? Or you can answer them one at a time, like skill and then lesson and then friendship.
Cheapers, I don't know, I just was friends with everybody, so I'm not really. Like, I maybe don't keep in touch with some of the people that we have worked with, like, for many years, but I still meet, you know, when you're out and about and stuff, and you always share their memories and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, skills, like, when I had no inclination of being a youth worker, when I started coming here and doing stuff in the evenings, I just kind of fell in it. So I suppose that was the skill that I learned as I went along, like. But that would have been it, I suppose. And you're dealing with it. That's the challenge, is how young people have changed since I started doing youth work here, and how youth work works as well. It's different.
Do you mean with like the introduction of social media and stuff and that making it harder?
Yes,
yeah.
Definitely. Social media, too much access to stuff, being now. Things don't want to wait for anything. Things, you know, or even just the addiction thing. You know, when you see 5 years ago, like when I was thinking I ain't going to be doing youth work for much longer, because you're talking to people and they're all on their phones and stuff again. That kind of, I was like, nah, I'm not getting anything out of this anymore. You know what I mean? It's about two ways. You know what I mean? It's not just about you're not happy doing your job. Like, you need to be looking at something else. So. Although I still work with young people now.
And then thinking about your whole time at the YMCA, what do you believe is the most significant contribution or positive effect, I suppose, the youth work and then just had it on you yourself and being a person, and then the organisation?
What contribution
did you make, or did the youth work make?
No, I suppose the youth work just gives you that wee bit of, like I was doing a thing with work last week, and it was um, dealing with a group of boys that the girl who was dealing with them couldn't do it, so she asked me to come along, and it was kind of like it just came out. You know what I mean? I was able to, and like she was saying, how did you do that? Because they didn't listen to anything I said.
Yeah.
But at the end of this workshop, they're all looking for selfies with you and all that kind of stuff. So I was just getting, I knew, as soon as they started talking to me, like I was kind of going, all right, well, I know what way to talk to these boys. Like we're not going to be highfalutin with them or being silly with them or anything like that. We'll just keep them on track here, like, you know what I mean? And it worked. But it would just come out like me. I didn't actually know what I was going to face that day, you know what I mean? So when I was faced with it, but it was just a natural thing, like it was just, well, this is wee bums, like. So probably I'd just been able to deal with a bit of adversity when it comes up on you.
Brilliant. And then we were asking Gillian this as well too, but do you remember like your daddy coming and working here? And
I remember it being built.
Do you?
Yes, I remember all that coming out and when it was getting built and all that kind of stuff. And early rugby matches and stuff. And
did you set up out and watch them, or?
I used to come out and watch the matches later on. It was after my dad played. But he was just coaching and stuff like that. But it used to be, it was far better than watching international professional rugby because it was really funny. Because there was people getting, lying, getting hurt and all, and then there's nobody running along with the magic sponges. They're just getting run it off, that sort of thing. So it was always good crack watching it, and it was always the banter like between the players and all. It was more of that than I don't understand rugby, to be honest with you. But no, I remember it being from the very start. Like, I mean, that was 13 or 14, like whenever all this was getting built and all that kind of stuff. So it was quite. It's only 40 years ago.
Did your daddy bring you out then and show you around while it was all being built?
Oh, I would have been it. Probably pushed wheelbarrows around and everything as well. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And it wouldn't have been up that long then. When did it open? 84?
Yeah, 85.
85, so it was like only a year later, or a couple of years later, that we would have been starting to come out here to the discos and all that kind of stuff. Then it must have been 80. What year did I leave school? I must have left school maybe. So maybe 88. I was doing a bit of the groundsman stuff. The fire was blazing, and was Sam Starrett was the manager then. He was the general manager. It was my dad. He still worked for the electricity board then. So it was Sam and Ernie and stuff. And your seniority in a cold evening in here. There was, can I say, well, we used to call it the Drummowo Hole Warmers Club, right? And so it was cold, there's no radiators, you know what I mean? So it was just a fire. And how senior you were meant how, so everybody was just lined up in front of the fire. Sam always would have been in the middle. I had to stay down at the end and work my way into the middle of the thing, you know what I mean? So that's what they called it. It's good, funny days ever.
Do you know anything about the history of that fireplace?
I think it came out of Lamberton's house down outside Eagleton.
Yeah.
And I don't know much more about it than that.
They seems to. That's about as much as everybody knows.
I came out of that. If you're coming up out of Eagleton, there's a big house. It's flats or something now.
Aye.
It was in there. But I don't know where, how you managed to get here. I'm thinking that she was in one of the Women's Institute people or whatever that was there.
Yeah, she was involved with the canteen that would have been in Eglinton during the war. I don't know if she was involved with fundraising or something for the building. I'm not quite sure.
It was the best youth work tool that this place ever had.
Right.
See the conversations that happened around that fire down there? And boys sitting around and a block of tea and toast and just chatting to young fellas. Hey, that's where all the ideas came for, let's do this. Let's do this. There was like that young fella that made the videos and stuff. I remember him coming on one night and saying, I have to make a video for me moving images at school. Can we do it here? And I was like, what are we talking about? Like, let's do it. And we ended up making the roll up video. And then we made a video about this gangster moving I acted on it with my awful American accent. And that video was actually being used to show other moving image students what you could do. And it was made with a wee rubbish camera, and I chainsawed a guy's arm off on it. We get away with doing that in your firm. It was a pig's leg that we got out of the butcher's.
Oh my god.
Funny. But it's been deleted off YouTube.
Oh.
No, he started working for BBC and
Why
he
did
took
you take it
down.
away?
And they never put it back up. I must actually get on them about that and get it put back up, because I want to see it again. And it's just brought it back to memory. But that's where all the ideas came from down there. What are we going to do? And it was great.
Sam Scarp was one of the people that we'd kind of identified as like a big key person.
Oh,
here.
man, a huge.
Could you speak a wee bit about him? What was he like?
Oh, it's just hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Brilliant. Used to come in and they'd sit down there and get the guitar out and sing and play songs. And the crack was really good. Like, and there was a lot of, look, because it was mostly men. There wasn't such, the youth work thing hadn't really kicked off at that stage again. It was just so funny. Like this sweet story. There was he used to get a lift under the house with a guy, and it was an old fella that would come out to play snooker, but he drove really, really slow. And they called him Nigel Mansell, because so I always thought that was his actual name, because that was the only thing they called him, was Mansell. He was a racing car driver, so it was just sarcasm, things like that there. It was really funny. And then they were, back in then, I think with the Scrooge and doing all that kind of stuff, Sam was in a lot of that. And it was
Do you remember him writing his wee book and all?
Sam?
The wee history book about him here?
Oh, aye. And the Maiden City game, they were, that would have been them. Is there any of them floating about?
The game, yeah. A couple now.
It's only a couple. There used to be boxes and boxes of them under the stage. I'd love to know where they went to. There was one on eBay, a while back for
For £800 or £900 or something.
yeah, something ridiculous like that there.
I hold on to them copies. Like a fortune.
Sam was good. Good time, good memories of Sam. Looked after you, like, you know what I mean? But other than that, he would have been, was he the General Secretary before we died? I mean, that
He
was
was General Secretary at some point.
And then
I
was-
imagine it was before.
Mark Patterson. Was Mark Patterson General Secretary? Was there another guy, Colin Harris? Would have done a bit of stuff.
That name?
Colin was you've heard here, because he got a load of musical equipment. I remember this actually. We used to have a practice place down in the old cricket pavilion, and Colin got all the thing. He was putting together a project, doing a play, and he needed a band, and the Duffel Coats from Hell had recently disbanded. And I got me and the guitar player out of Duffel Coats from Hell, and a drummer and another guitar player out of another band that was local, and put us all together. And he told us this great idea, but he was like, "Oh, we're going to get all this musical equipment, new amps and mics and PA and all." We were like, "That's great." So we practiced away down there, and we practiced for about 6 months, and then he handed me a script. And I said, "What's this?" Because that's the play. The play is about some singer in a band, and blah blah blah, and you're the singer in the band, and I was like, absolutely not. I'm not an actor. so it was like, I'm not doing it. And he's going, that's what we bought all the equipment for. But he did explain that to me before he bought the equipment, but I could just hear equipment. You know what I mean? So I wasn't. So now I ended up. I don't ever know what happened. I think that it all ended up in Carrickfergus, where I am.
All the equipment.
And I the script and everything, and they actually done it. Knowing my luck, it was really successful and toured Australia and America and all this kind of stuff. But I was like, no, I'm not acting. I didn't mind doing the music and the thing or whatever, but no, it wasn't for acting. Like. Plus, we weren't playing the right type of music as well. So he got to come out one time and he's like, "Oh, what's that?" And we were like, "This is the kind of stuff we play." Like, and he thought we were going to play the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, but no.
What were you playing?
Hardcore punk, really fast, shouty, quite abrasive music. Just still do it to this day. Never grew out of it.
Class. And then, Do you want to tell us what's it, the name? The
Dead Ned?
Yes.
Dead Ned, allegedly, was, and they were doing a bit of work out the back, down where the corner of the childcare would be, and they dug a big hole, and they were looking for, I don't know why they were digging the hole, but Ned was lighting a cigarette, and he dropped his lighter down under the hole, and he went down to the hole, and got the lighter, and they light a cigarette, but when they were digging, they had a gas main, and when he lit it, he blew up, and just left his boots, and then he was seen walking the hall at night, and up in the back of the stage, and all this kind of stuff, so that was where Dead Ned came from. And every so often his parents would allegedly call in and ask had they found him yet, because they never did find his body. He went so high up in the air, and that was the legend of Dead Ned Ainsley. So, and I don't know, I never met his parents, but allegedly they did used to call in every now and again. It would have been, they met him all the time. Never met me or anybody else, but he was. So I don't even know where the name came from. It was just a random day. He came up with it. He told us the story, so we believed it. Well, we didn't believe it, but we used it as a thing to tell the Waynes and keep all the crack going on here. He's an old, scared the crap out of you for the Waynes, the sleepover thing. But I was here. I see that thing Gillian was talking about, the fair, the Anglin fair. They only paid the other two boys. They stay on the Friday and Saturday night. I had to stay on the Sunday night myself. And I come up, I was feared of getting somebody coming in down there and killing me and taking all the, so I thought it'd be safer up in the way in. And I'll stay awake, and if I see any cars driving down, I'll go down there and I'll phone the police or whatever. And I come up and I only stayed up here half an hour, and then I thought, it was that scary on your own in here. I thought to myself, I'm just going to go down and chance the robbers down here. It's good crack.
It's definitely haunted though. Like,
Oh, that's definitely, yeah.
scary haunted.
Staying out at night on your own, you'll know.
I was on like one time, maybe like early for club or something, and up here was like, nah.
You hear noises all around the place.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like, never again.
You do? It was worse when the stage was there. Than the big curtains and stuff like that. You could see them moving and stuff like that. He's playing tricks. Walking up the hall. We would have got, see when we did sleepovers, we would have people, like the back doors left open. You know, people with their faces white, looking on the window and scaring people and leaving flowery handprints all around, and going up and banging up on the stage. Scaring the life out of the Waynes. Ooh, you wouldn't do it now. You wouldn't get away with it.
And I suppose, is there anything else that you think we should
No,
ask you?
I'm looking forward to seeing all that. It's been a year since you've been doing this now.
Oh well, I suppose I started in May, so nearly.
And I started in September.
Right. No, I'm looking. It was great. There's so much. I'm thinking you've been through that attic up there. There must have been.
Yeah.
We have to go back up again.
Well, I lifted everything up there. There was no way of getting it up, so it was me and Paddy Maguire.
When was that?
It was just after they done this extension and stuff like that. It was stuff everywhere. That was a hoarder, like, so there was loads and loads of
room
stuff.
3 was just covered. And
Where was that there?
Room 3 had all this, must have took it out of the cupboard, but I just remember room 3. All the papers and the boxes and everything had to wait through that.
Yeah, and we get the job then. So I think this Paddy was up on the thing, and then me and my dad were down pushing these boxes up. And there's supposed to be filing cabinets and all up there, isn't there?
There is.
We had to lift them up on there. It's back-breaking work.